creature, not only human, but even for other creatures. So a huge numbers of verses in the Quran, as I've already said, and several sayings of the Prophet Muhammad indicate the great importance that has been given to environmental concerns, and the responsibility of man to the environment. The concept of just sustainable development in Islam can be defined as the balanced, simultaneous realization of consumer welfare, economic efficiency, attainment of social justice, and ecological balance in the framework of evolutionary knowledge-based, socially interactive model defining the consultative process. This consultative process or participatory ruling of Islam. So, as I've already said about the cardinal principle that the Prophet ﷺ taught us, that there shall be no damage, no infliction of damage. It's a very important aspect. Therefore, the Quran warns us against extravagance, using everything extravagant. Because extravagance, you know, it means quite a lot. That God has allowed us to have certain resources, but these resources should be managed moderately, should be used moderately. When we have access to these resources, we should be able to manage them moderate and not to use them extravagant. Because extravagance is against the principle of equity and justice and the responsibility. So the right to benefit from the essential environment elements and resources such as water, minerals, land, forests, fish and wildlife, arable soil, air and sunlight is in Islam a right held in common by all members of society. Each individual is entitled to benefit from a common resource, subject to establishing the degree of need. So needs have to be distinguished from wants, and the impact on the environment. Earth is mentioned, as I said, 61 times in the Quran, according to Islam. The universe has been created by Allah, God, with a specific purpose for a limited time. This universe is here for a limited time. There will come a time when it will cease to be. That one we have to understand. The utilization of natural resources, which are a gift from God, is a sacred trust invested in mankind. He is a mere manager and not an owner. We human, we are managers, we are not owner of this. A beneficiary and not a disposer. Side by side, the Islamic nation has been termed as an ummatan wasatan, meaning the moderate nation. In the Quran, a nation that avoids excesses in all things. That is what it refers to as a moderate what? Nation. Thus, Muslims in particular have to utilize the earth responsibly for their benefit, honestly maintain and preserve it, use it considerately and moderately, and pass it on to future generations in an excellent condition. So this includes the appreciation of its beauty and handing it over in a way that realizes of the Almighty God. So, my respected brothers and sisters, It is an immense responsibility upon us to indeed understand who we are in relation to the planet, and also to understand what is the planet for. We might be able to come up with tools that destroy the planet, that cause destruction to the planet. So we need to avoid such, because this is not merely for us. It's something that we should hand over to other generations and generations to come. With these few remarks, I beg to stop there and request you that you will allow me to exit, because I'm traveling this afternoon. I would have wished to participate in the further discussions to come, but I'll be able to follow on the net with whatever will be going on here. I thank you for inviting me. I thank you for listening to me, and I pray that we continue to be together to serve humanity and the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We can give a thunderous hand clap for the second Deputy Mufti of Uganda from the Uganda Muslim Student Council. Needless to repeat what he has said, because that will be watering down the powerful statements. But largely, it seems to make a clarion call on the responsibility of the citizens towards the environment. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite the host of the function tonight to come and, most importantly, give us a keynote address, but also welcome us to the place. Ambassador Kamala Milton is a renowned person to many of you. He is the chapter president for the Global Peace Foundation. Global Peace Foundation being an international body. The Global Peace Foundation aspires to rewrite the wrongs of many international bodies, right from the inception of humanity, especially as regards order is concerned. The Global Peace Foundation thinks that the United Nations Organization, now the UN, should have failed fundamentally in its roles. And in the offing, its Global Peace Foundation thinks that they have a better way of harnessing peace in this world. So they are an international arbitrator in the waiting. Ambassador Kamala Milton was responsible for the organization and the conference that took place in Kampala in 2018. Throughout the world, 4 heads of state came in here, and there were over 4,000 delegates that gathered in Munyonyo. President Yoweri Museveni was the host. It led to a declaration of peace throughout the world that came to be called the Kampala Peace Declaration. Ambassador Milton is also a founder member of Integrity Uganda, an institution that seeks to appreciate the level of peace and sanity in Uganda
name is Kambola Milton, and we work together with young people, old people, the academia, the business people, world leaders, but we are a family. Just as we are here, tell your neighbor, we are a family. Tell that person near you that you're welcome home. One important thing is that conferences like this are important in life because we meet new people, new friends, we share new innovations, we learn from each other, we network, but also very critical, we also share or touch those things that are untouchable. They're untouchable. Other people have not come because the subject matter of this conference is that we go to fear nothing but to talk about those things that affect our future. So I thank each one of you. I welcome you here today. And very importantly is the time you have given us to come amidst your busy schedules to come and be part of this meeting. The larger audience is online because now, because of COVID, we have learned to be online. So I want to give you confidence that we have very many people online. But allow me to first recognize the presence of our important leaders. Everyone is important, each one of you. But I would like to really thank Ambassador Walusibi, who is from the Office of the President. He has just arrived. Of course, we recognize each one of you. He has not been recognized. He is the one responsible, he's actually the Senior Presidential Advisor on Diaspora Affairs, Office of the President. I want to recognize our Dr. Ogwang. I actually took your product, COVID-X. I got COVID 5 times, but I know it is your product that made me leave. Please give him a round of applause. You're welcome. Thank you, Doctor. We have our brother, Mr. Ande. It's called Andrew, the CEO of EcoBricks International. You're welcome, brother. Of course, the time I have is very limited, but each one of you is important in your capacities. So those that are online must appreciate that the 3 hours we are going to have here are going to be historic for the country. Because we have never had a discussion or a national dialogue about our future. That is how hard it is. And our role is to touch those critical areas that none of the Ugandans actually are ready to talk about. Our theme for tonight is National Dialogue on Sustainable Future. We have not had a long theme. Ours is to be here for 3 hours. If you can really appreciate the next few hours, indeed to dialogue about how our future is going to be. What influences the future? What type of education? What type of economy? What type of family do we want to have? What type of policies? Maybe it's not enough. What type of health care? Because everyone says health care. But all over the world, we have 50 chapters around the globe. We see technology. Right Honorable has just arrived. Please join me. Actually, let's stand up and welcome Honorable Moruli Mukasa, who has just joined in. And come in front, please. Please. You're welcome, Honorable Minister. We really thank you so much for having arrived in time. And we know your friends also coming here. We thank you. We thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. So these are some of the things. Now, Honorable Moruli is passionate about the future. That is why he cannot miss. That is why he's part of this journey the last 25 years, nurturing millions of young people. Now we have grown also to influence others. Honorable Minister, you're welcome. let me just dive into introducing the education session.
Not yet.
Because it's one of the areas that we think is going to influence the future. How do we want to live in the future? Everything, tell the neighbor, is influenced by education. Yes, education is what influences society. Because then our cultural leaders and their kingdoms in their palaces, even at this time when we have Ebola, I have not heard a king talking about it. You know, somehow must die very soon because of the dictates of the economy. The creatives will survive because they have something to sell on the market, to earn money, to be able to live. So are we ready to lose our loved ones? All the children we have left in our homes to come and face that challenge. So that's why we have come on a national dialogue on sustainable future. What does the future look like? Shall we continue using these microphones? No! Artificial intelligence is already there. We have finished the prayers. Now our first panel. Are we ready? Technology? Has technology started? Because now technology is also, we don't create our own technology, our own software. So you have somehow to negotiate with the technology made by someone 5,000 miles away from here. Either by calling it Kamakakoro yourself. That is the future we are talking about. So please quickly start the technology so that we start the conference with the national anthem. Then from there we start the education session, from where we then can have, we'll have the awarding ceremony. There is a way we can tune this event because some of the people have not come, some groups of people based on the themes we had given them.
Of public service, the Honorable Mukasa. The Honorable Mukasa, you're most welcome. Thank you for being so dedicated. We are humbled because of your presence. At this point, now that the Honorable Minister is around, ladies and gentlemen, we will ask that we respond to one, the national anthem, and then secondly, the East African anthem. Like Ambassador Kamala Milton had suggested, we will shut down the program and ensure that we respect the time limits. Those that will come will find us on the way. We will expect a arrival at a given time of Mr. Fagli Mandi. We also expect, of course, the presence of the Professor Wasa Balungwa to be around. And there will be so many others that will be joining us in the course. Dr. Magi Chigozi shall be here with us. Meantime, can I ask that we have a synchronized national anthem, we shall stand, and then the East African anthem, respectively. So that we can start. Kindly stand up. Thank you.
Let's begin with the national anthem. Oh, Uganda, may God uphold you. We lay our future in thy hands. United
hiki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuijibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mashikamano viwe miji wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru wa amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na amani, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Let's pray. Gracious and loving Father in heaven, we want to thank you immensely for an opportunity like this, where we want to dialogue about a sustainable future. Human beings cannot discuss the future without the divine will and power. We invoke the presence of your Spirit, that throughout these deliberations, Father, come and reign. Prevail over our thoughts and minds, that your will can be manifested in whatever we are here to discuss. At the end of the day, let us agree on a sustainable future. Cleanse us of all iniquities, continuously rise us from glory to another glory, as we all say the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all, now and forever. Amen.
We may take our seats. Thank you very much for that. Turn to us. Two anthems and then prayer. Brother Bokondika, Ezra. Quickly, our item is supposed to be education. And it will be important that we got ourselves in those balkanized groups, where we will begin to appreciate what it is. For the moment, allow me to liaise with the team and see the personalities that are online that are supposed to usher and discuss various topics as regards education and sustainability, encouraging the environment to be harmonious, because that is the debacle we are faced with in the current times.
That's what we want to contemplate here. It's not just a conference, so this is a dialogue. We want to at least connect 5 big countries with their best scholars guiding their nations, and somehow find where we belong. Somehow we will know. Then we can then guide policy. Of course, we are going on with the new curriculum. at S1, S2, S3, but we need it from the national level, and maybe at high level, maybe even at the university. We have courses in this country, or even the region that are useless. Kabisa, the Swahili woman, old man said kabisa, and we are taking school. So please bear with me if I'm, emphasizing Dr. Tony who in Japan. So, Brian, are they on now?
Yes.
We want to make it vibrant like an earthquake. These are the top 3 world scholars in education. Dr. Tony Vine has helped more than 12 nations around the globe to anchor their curriculum. So I don't want to miss that wisdom. So we want to make sure it is interactive also, so that each one of you can also speak something, Hasafukanyama. It's not like the other conferences where you just sit, listen from one direction. No. So we want to make the whole world in this room. So please connect those international leaders. Okay. Do you appreciate the way we are building a plane while we are seated on it? So please appreciate. This is Africa, we are going to build the plane, but I guarantee you where it will land. Tell your neighbor where it is going to land. It's going to be on the moon. We want to disrupt the future. We want to manage in the future. We want to walk in that future. From today, the manufacturers, please pay attention. See your market, how it looks like. What you want to do, but just watch the space of education. As of course, Kayemba, Mr. Tim, prepare for your presentations, and each one of you today must speak. Each one of you must what? Please. That is a guarantee. For 1 minute or 1 second, we must speak, all of us here. Okay. Friends, as I dive into this discussion, allow me to request each one of you that if you see something, something important, write it down. Write it down. Because we are not machines. Somebody Museveni who has it, or he has a GB, how many? I don't know. These IT people. He can even remember what he used to do a year, 6 months. Can you imagine such a person? You don't sit near him. He can even remember what he used to do at 6 months. That's why he can remember each of his friends. So colleagues, let's begin. Let's start the board. Get my first slide. Let us begin. Providence, please, quickly because of time. The members have very little time. Progress in these machines, man. That's why, machines are already there which you talk to. You say, number 1, it brings. Number 2, you kick. You say, hey, one. Well, those are the things you want here. All the computers, all the what, everything. So please start the computer, please. Please. It's just like 5 minutes presentation, but very nice. Okay. What I'm going to speak about, by the way, has been approved by the National Curriculum Development Center because that is where their authority is. So whoever talks to you from today, ask before they open their mouth, show me the authenticity of your work. Tell your neighbor, so whatever I'm going to present here has already been integrated in the new curriculum, although other areas are still waiting for budget issues to be integrated. Nursery school, high school, university. So we are talking about developing an education of the future. That's why we are here. Now, okay, that was Uganda. Very good. Now, from the approval of the government, of the Republic of Uganda, having, by the way, worked under his leadership for the last 20 years, the leadership of Honorable Lukasa, guiding us because he was a teacher, a teacher who used to walk 10 miles to go and train his teachers. Oh, with no pay. Those were the thing. You have to go train the teachers, the students, you have to go and do this, but they were patriotic. We thank you, Honorable Minister, that indeed you share the outcome that we will share.
Right.
So there is a book coming out. It's coming out loud and clear to penetrate each home, all our schools, the religious systems, so that we have something on the table to guide what our population should be in the future. Now, transformation of education in Uganda. This is a training manual. So each one of you, you're going to train others. That's what it means. Are we clear with that? So whatever I speak here, if you learn 1 or 2 things, also go and train others. Because we can no longer wait to transform education from any CDC side when parents are sleeping. Can you imagine? I think there is this here. So, colleague, another slide. Come to very fast, very fast. The objective of this training, my friends, is that we want to work together to transform education outcomes. It's not about transforming education. Hey, we must transform what education produces. Amen. The focus has been increased budget in Parliament. Increasing budget scientifically or logically does not mean improve the outcomes. So our thesis today is going to focus on producing job creators and job seekers. That's an outcome. We want to see how do we, is it still relevant, colleagues, to graduate those students who are going to end up on the streets, end of the game. We want therefore to focus our presentation on how we can work together in the private sector as educators, very good the teachers are around, the head teachers, others are online. We want to make sure somehow produce students who are going to create wealth for the country. Say amen. That one you believe. You see? Focus interventions. The program engages and involves cross-sector stakeholders. Everyone today is a leader. Tell your neighbor, we are all leaders now. Everybody is a leader. Tell your neighbor, we are all leaders and teachers. Honorable Minister, the people we are talking to, these are billionaires, sir. That's why I'm talking, sweating here, so that somehow maybe at the end of my presentation, someone will become here. Somehow, Honorable Minister, they own companies, so they influence the education and the future of the country. They pay tax, they employ us. But another group, Honorable Minister, they are the head teachers. So you may be few, but the influence you have behind you is big. That's why I'm now very happy to start my presentation. Now look at this. Having known that we need to work together as a team, the religious leaders, the cultural leaders, the teachers, the industrials like you, but also the bankers, the scholars like Professor Ogwan, Professor, our ED, Executive Director of Uganda Cancer Institute. Stand up for the information, Professor. You see, I told you everybody is here. We want to work together to make sure somehow we unite around the education. Because the teacher alone that is going to take us into the future, that is the law on parenting. Because we have the universal one, yes, the universal one. But we don't have that law that looks like our cultural values which are dying, and now we have those so-called, you know them, eh? Now, parenting is the root, is the influencer of the future moral leaders, moral society, moral. So the moment you fail to have a parent at the center of this discussion of the future, then you are dead. Such a country has no future. So as we talk about education, we must position parents as moral educators. Today, you know what's happening, please? I died a long time ago. So, tell him no one will pay him. The father is telling the daughter. The daughter was also going to get married. Now you marry such a daughter. You know what I'm doing? You know the rotten society. Now, when we put parents at the center of education, it means, colleagues, we will be safe in the future. Now, we need a parenting law to be put in place. So it's one day, because at the end of the day, the minister wants to go with what are the resolutions of the meeting. But because the minister is going to take something to Parliament. What type of parent do we need in the 21st century? Now, colleagues, the second one is that as we engage parents with the law and the best practices, what next? Slide in that. Another slide, Mama. Another slide. Okay, that one. The next culprit of this whole agenda of the future is the teacher. Because now research indicates to us that a teacher who has never managed a business cannot produce a billionaire. Tell your neighbor to forget. How the future looks like. That the weak must die, even the people will not work on them. Even the parent will not work on those ones. Because they will have no capacity to feed themselves with organic food. They will live on poison or what is available. So this thing of having a lot of land, colleagues, you know, the future is that the ignorant cannot be risked to own land. This is coming very soon, colleagues. Even to eat organic money, that soya, the beans, you must be somebody to even the government to risk that type of food. Because it must be given to a certain population who guarantee peace and security of the country. Okay, I am not threatening. Right now we have a lot of plenty. Because you know when you have plenty, you don't think. You don't do what? You don't think. But time is going to come because by 2040 we are likely to be 100 million people. Say amen. Now, you know what I'm talking about. Because 100 million people to be on this plot of land called Uganda. Now, it means the innovators are the ones who produce products for sale, and those who have also businesses are the ones with potential to buy. That's how it's going to be. We're going to be. You end up you'll be house girl. Those jobs are all going to end. House girl, cleaning the baby, manyabiki. No, such jobs are going to do what? So, whom are we entrusted with our children? We need to also guide you that for you to produce an engineer, you need to go to Mukwano Industries, for example, and pick the engineer in the department, bring him or her in your classroom, and you double the presentations in the classroom. So, whereas we are here, we are saying the future is going to be disrupted. And that disruption must begin in the classroom. That's why I'm passionate about education. A teacher who's a thief, tell your neighbor a thief. Do you know almost all Uganda? I don't know how to I don't know, maybe I'm unlucky. Every Uganda I deal with is a thief. And somehow I lose. And when I'm reporting the doctor, they say, no, for some so somehow we are connected in this kind of sector that is coming up. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, my brother. You're welcome. Please come in front here. So somehow colleagues, we've got to do something. This sector of Riba, the corruption sector that is growing up, it is the teacher. You're welcome. You're welcome, brother. So somehow, colleagues, if we don't transform the teacher by connecting the teacher to the pastor and the sheikh, to the teacher to the parent, so that the teacher can also learn from the parent. So we must double the teacher with the partners around him or her. Because the teacher who's a thief needs prayers. I don't know if I do. He needs prayers, or she needs prayers. So unless you connect him to the other man's chiwede, now it means you will have the Kaukumi teaching the what? This teacher needs technology. He doesn't have the technology, colleagues. It is your companies with technology. We need to connect the teacher to the companies so that he or she can access the technology company's board. So that now he can help you not to produce a complex child. Now, the last one in this, go down, and that one I finished it. Very good. Wow. We are talking about now, I have not touched, of course, the kings, because you don't talk about the kings in Africa. That was they say go over, goes on, if not goes on. But you know that our kings now have given up maybe somehow. But they are the custodians of morality. So the teacher also needs to be connected, and the king somehow needs to be brought in the classroom. It's not happening. I've talked about the entrepreneurs brought in the classroom. That one I have not touched it because of time. But let us look at the future. What do we see in the future? Go in front, click very fast. You can disturb Museveni for it. You and Museveni lives better to come and clean your leg. It is just the education. The quality of education reflects itself through those kind of small things that then we say government is bad. No, it is a system. Even if we tackle it up there with a good curriculum, but if the parent is not anchored, doesn't know what to do, the teacher doesn't know what to do, the cultural leader doesn't know what to do, the religious leader doesn't know what to do, oh my God, then such a nation cannot also attract foreign direct investment. Oh, I think I'm correcting everything because of time. So we are saying the youth are not the problem. We are the problem. People in this room, we are the problem. But we are the problem. You are eating, so I understand that. We are the problem because for us we know, but we cannot go on the street. We have 18 companies here for media. Capital that one. That we can strike. For the last 30 years I've been in this country. 36 years I'm making that my birthday. We need a parenting policy. We need a parenting policy. Can you imagine? With what's going on, can you imagine? People are not seeing. Parents come late. Abortions are hard. Family breakdown are hard. A lot of violence, domestic violence going on. Don't give them chips, you will see. They will even strike for not getting chips from the State House. So colleagues, we're in a hard time where we need to change the narrative of unemployment. This is what I'm now talking about. Changing the narrative of unemployment to youth opportunity to solve problems. I don't know whether you're getting it. Because they are young, they are curious, they are creative, they are innovative. Then why are you talking about unemployment? And it is the scholars to blame. The ones who create the narrative so that we become weak and become lazy. Then these problems of Jiga should become the employment opportunities for the 18 million young people. It should be a crime to find it in a young man who has a degree walking, year to year, every day is walking. In some countries, professor, a young man to graduate and he finishes 3 years on the street. Either the government pays him because maybe they gave him irrelevant skills, or if they gave relevant skills, he is jailed. It is a crime to sit on talents for national development. Those are some of the things you should be picking in your resolutions today. Why would I go to school? I finished Bachelor's of Science and going to the math. Now, after graduation, there is no equipment or platform government has put in place for me to go to the math. Why did they allow that course in Makerere? I'm just bringing an example for English. So for me, I've created a mind. Don't say I'm attacking government. I'm saying, okay, I went and studied conflict management, but now I employed myself. I'm here talking to you, colleague. Have you seen this is now self-employment? I go to the UN everywhere, and in the US, we are discussing future narratives. So we must somehow, colleagues, those of you who are here, whether we are few or many, you must begin with yourself. Yourself, it is but you, but it is personal responsibility. Now let me go to another thing, is that now we have to appreciate the Ministry of Education. Because it has injected in a lot of trillions of shillings. Now we are no longer talking about billions. Can you imagine? The government of the President of His Excellency, the President of Uganda, His Excellency General. Wow. So let us look at the future. I talk against the man. That is the problem now. Providence, please come. Please. Just build. Now today you are married with that machine. Is it the next one or the next job? Come very fast. Look at your country. This is the reflection of Uganda now in that country president. Now, this is witchcraft. Are you seeing that man? He's still the one lying or graduates that Jahamu Wetagan so that you become a billionaire. That man there. Are we not producing engineers who make houses collapse? The students that we graduate steal money for building construction and the buildings collapse, the bridges collapse. That's why someone will bring the Andes to come and fix infrastructure. Because the human resource somehow is dead. So how do we talk about the future when you have the picture reflecting problems like this? Are you seeing now? Hospitals, the stealing of medicine, human resources, everything rotates around education. When you have a rotten education, this will be the outcome. Somehow the parents don't do his work. Somehow the kids are sleeping. Somehow the policymaker on the committee of education doesn't know education of the future. And they are not being trained by the world. Now, the few that are crafting the new curriculum, they are being attacked in parliament. Yeah, we don't have the budget. Go away with your curriculum. We have sensitive matters to discuss here. Can you imagine? So, before we discuss, very good. So, Mr. Tony, bring Dr. Tony, so that he now starts it from there. Okay, take it down. Dr. Tony is going to begin from there. United States. Dr. Tony is one of the best world's education scholars in the world. He has crafted education policies, helping nations on their curriculum, and he has come thrice in Uganda to train our teachers. He has mentored, trained National Curriculum Development Center. He is an authority. So you're welcome, Dr. Tony, please. Dr. Tony, you're on, please. You can now present. Then video, bring the video also. Dr. Tony, you're on, please. Technology. Please bring him. I would like us to, to have that, so that we close this session and go to another one. Dr. Tony, you can hear us, please. Dr. Tony. Yes, you are there. I can say. You can now zoom in so that you very good. Dr. Tony, you take the positive. Dr. Tony, we are hearing you, please. Go ahead, please, Professor. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah, you can start your presentation, please.
Okay, so could hello pro here this not that me some here could be great. Okay, perfect. And they put everyone to the book for the
Dr. Tony, you just a second, please. The network is not clear. Which internet are you using? For the hotel. So now let us use our. You're welcome, sir. I want to really appreciate that you have arrived. You're welcome, brother. We're here to recognize you. You can hear us now, Doctor? Professor, you can hear us?
Using the hotel internet.
You can record something and play. How is that?
I think you understand that we live in right?
Entrepreneurship, creativity, and critical thinking. Also real project-based learning as well as sustainable development. This conference is all about sustainable futures. One of the outcomes of companies partnering with schools is that students can actually create very valuable products from waste. Some photographs of actual products that students created. We also do need greater stakeholder connectedness and collaboration in order to prepare students for a rapidly changing world. We have real economic issues going on around the world right now, along with social issues and along with environmental issues, right? Climate change is perhaps the #1 issue among young people globally right now. And we do have a finite number of natural resources. So actually, as companies look into the future, it is really good business, right, to actually take care of the planet and to look at how waste can be recycled. This is actually good corporate social responsibility. It is good business. It is good for the world. And it is something that many companies are making a commitment to long term. Microsoft, Google, Apple, not just tech companies, but manufacturing companies as well. And then another way that companies and schools working together, they can actually help you prepare for future employment readiness. Our education systems really need the input of companies, right, and corporations, because companies are actually at the forefront. Parts of the students are getting inputs that are not in the current curriculum on computer science that actually prepare students for the modern workforce. But also this partnership as well between companies and schools can actually help students prepare for existing employment opportunities, right? Where we're making a better alignment, right, between training and education and the needs of the workforce. In Global Peace Foundation, we have a project called LEAPODS, which is a 2-day business development boot camp followed by 2 months of business mentorship and coaching. And we have these incubators set up in high schools. We're doing this in Uganda as well. And I also have to say that we do need to enhance the effectiveness of TVET, technical and vocational and educational training, and to really challenge the stigmatization of TVET as a second-rate learning track. I think in the middle of all of this, values are important, especially character, right, and creativity. So those two areas are actually becoming more and more important. And this is all about equipping students with a moral and innovative mindset, preparing them to be responsible citizens and honest workers. And character and values are also an antidote to corruption. And we know that corruption drains resources from essential programs, and it erodes faith in institutions, and it is a risk factor for investment. So we want a new generation of students who emphasize good character, good creativity. This is a great quote from John Wooden, an American basketball player and coach. He said, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are," right? We also want to encourage lifelong learning, where everybody connected to the education ecosystem are continuously learning. And at the UN Transforming Education Summit, the Secretary General of UN, Antonio Guterres, actually emphasized that an important goal of it came to teach students how to learn how. That's also like helping to stimulate student agency responsibility as well. I just want to come and wrap it up here. My time is almost up. So we are advocating for a whole of society approach, bring school systems, parents, companies, and employers together. And a quick recommendation for a new era of education transformation. A few quick points here. Enhanced access for all, develop the quality of education and skills development, invest in transformative competencies like character, mindset, and continuous development. Companies, sector stakeholders, and align education curricula at all levels to match the job market and societal needs. This will actually help us to create a peaceful and flourishing 21st century civilization. So I just want to thank you very much, and I really want to thank the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Education and all of the other partners who are supporting and helping this national dialogue on sustainable futures today. Thank you.
Professor, thank you so much really for your presentation. The teachers are very excited, the head teachers, the CEOs of different corporate companies in the country, but also the policy makers. We have Honorable Ruli listening to you as usual, but he has done his jobs at policy level at the cabinet. So what you have presented is going to be part of what we are crafting today as resolutions going forward, so we can have a Uganda that is really living in the future. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. We love you. Continue really to appreciate the work you're doing around the world, the 50 countries, guiding governments and nations of the world. May God bless you, please. Thank you. Thank you. How was it? Has he shared what I said? I think we go to really clap for him. Please. We thank you. He's doing a lot of work in Kenya with the new president already. With that invitation, very specific invitation. You know, Ruto talked about, His Excellency talked about that schools must change those courses that are just wasting our money. Did you see that on social media recently? So Dr. Tony is flying in the country of Kenya, actually next month, to sit with the new president on how universities can radically transform education, especially at the university. So possibly with his capacity and such a meeting, you know, once in a while, you know, we can learn something from our friends. Now, he has spoken everything I was prepared to say. My presentation, we can wait, but let's go on the program so that we conclude this. We have planned to listen and learn from our friend who is with us here. Just a few minutes. He's a professor also. Because Kasafu Kanyama. Let's listen to Professor Jackson Oryem. He's the executive director of Uganda Cancer Institute. Because somehow cancer, we must have a way of throwing this cancer away from us. Yes, we are going to school, but somehow our children are not being told that they have cancer. Can't imagine a child of 5 years. Those things were not like that. Somehow they are telling us that the teachers somehow, some of them have cancer. They are also telling that the leaders. This is cancer, Dr. Yem. Dr. Yem is a man who has gone to school, he has made research, and very importantly, as you are aware, he's leading one of the sensitive sectors of our country, the cancer management and treatment. Please come in front, Professor, please join me in giving a hand of applause to Professor Yem to come and share with us how can we talk about the future when the cancer is on our door. Or at our door, please, you corrected me, Professor. I need to go to nursery school. God bless you, please.
Honorable William Kasa, I'm so privileged that you are here to connect with you after a while. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In the interest of time, let me just start by thanking Ambassador Kambula Milton, who has made it possible for me to come and just share something briefly with you about cancer. Of course, as the theme of this meeting goes, the emphasis that I was given was to talk about the increase in cancer that we see in the country. I'll put that in quotes. And then to relate that to the change in environment, and especially emphasizing the role of pollution and the role of plastics in as far as this is concerned. So, to start off, what do we note as far as cancer is concerned in Uganda? cancer is becoming something which is common in terms of experience, in terms of knowledge of our society. So that begs the question, is this a new phenomenon, or is it something that we have been living with and maybe we do not know? So we talk about the burden. That means how much of this problem we have in our society. And the best yardstick we can use for doing that is to study or to get some figures about the new cases, about the cases that we already have in our society, and then also about the impact that it is having. So you talk about what we call incidence, you talk about prevalence, and you also talk about mortality. In as far as our country is concerned, we have actually seen an increase in incidence, and we measure that by putting together, for instance, about 100,000 population, and then we count within that how many new cases do we see in a year. And in as far as Uganda is concerned, for every 100,000 population, now we are seeing about 250 new cases of cancer. And that's a big increase, because about 10 or so years ago, if you put together that number of people, you will only get maybe about 100 to 120, something like that. So that means actually the number has doubled. And that also goes along with the number of people who are living with the disease at any particular time. That has also gone up. About 10 or so years ago, we would talk about maybe 60,000 people at any one time, but now we are talking about between 80,000 to 100,000 people. And that means actually that number has also increased. If you compare that number with the new cases, what you see is that the numbers at any one time is not commensurate with the numbers, the new cases that come up. And what that means is that actually the mortality or people who are diagnosed who are actually passing on is much more rapid than. That sets the background for now what I wanted to just explain a little bit. There are about 3 factors that we think are responsible for the cancer cases in the country. Number 1, we have very high rate of infections that can actually progress to cancer. Infections like viruses, you have heard about human papilloma virus, you have heard about hepatitis B virus, etc. In our country, actually, those infections contribute almost about 50% of the cancers. And then number 2, we also talk about environment. And that is an area where we are not very good. We haven't got the means of measuring how much of the environmental factors are actually responsible for the increase in the cancers. And then number 3 are factors that we have very little leverage over. And these are things like, for instance, aging. As you age, the risk of development of cancer actually goes up for certain types of cancer. And then, of course, also the factors within our body, we call them genetic factors. Those ones are also there. So these are the 3 areas. So if we are to put emphasis and relate to the topic that I was given, we should think about environmental factors. And in these, we can say that we are not very good in actually relating the environmental changes or environmental degradation, and in this we can include also factors like, for instance, the increased use of plastics, etc., into that causation. And that is an area where now I want really to ask that we need to put emphasis so that we can know clearly whether this is so. And we cannot do that without actually mounting research, without investing in research. So in order for us to take plastic as an example, if we are really to know that, the increase in plastics, the waste, etc., may be actually contributing to cancer, we need to invest in research to understand this. And there are 3 areas that we can actually, or 3 ways we can actually do that. Number 1 is to understand what are we dealing with when we are talking about these environmental factors or environmental degradation. How do they kind of lead to the development of the diseases that we are talking about? And in this, if we are talking about plastics in particular, there is what we call the PVC or polyvinyl, yes, chloride. These usually, when it gets into the body, it causes some changes in the body. And these changes can lead to what we call inflammatory process, and this eventually, with time, can actually lead to development of cancer. And this has been seen in experimental models, including animals. But in order for us to kind of make sure that the same is happening in as far as humans are concerned, we need to do more research. So we need to put more money into doing research. We need to do more surveillance in order for us to understand clearly that this is actually taking place. And that area, we are still very weak. And for instance, the type of cancers that are caused by the factors that we already know, like infection, for instance, aging, and all that kind of thing, are actually very specific. So that means if we are to understand that these changes in the environment is actually leading to what we suspect, the increase in cancers, then we should be on the lookout for new types of cancers that are emerging in our community. And that actually takes surveillance, and that takes research. We need to put money into that. And then, of course, we also need now to begin to think about those who are at risk. The people who are at risk are, for instance, those who are in industry, the workers. That means we must have actually policies that protect them, even though we do not yet know the exact risk or the magnitude of the risk at this point. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is to look at the community, the society. We need also to make sure that people are aware that even if we haven't pinpointed these factors as causes of cancer, we must protect ourselves against them. And then number 3, at the domestic level or personal level, the use of these factors, the use of plastic, we need to make sure that we observe and see, are those who are using it more, are they at higher risk than the ones who are actually not using it more? Things like that. So simple observations like that one will help us to understand. So in order to conclude, let me just summarize by saying that there is still a lot that we do not know, but the only way we can actually know is to make sure that first we create awareness, and then secondly, we make sure that we put money or resources into doing surveillance, and that includes research. And then, of course, the third thing which I've said is there's need for awareness to make sure that people, with the awareness, they can actually prevent or we can prevent the development of these diseases, so that, you know, we do not wake up later when actually it is rather late. So with this, I want once again to really thank the organizers of this conference, and thank especially our chief guest for giving time, and then also for me, giving me the opportunity to actually put it out there that even though we are thinking about some of these factors, don't forget that cancer is a likely outcome of some of these things. Thank you very much.
Let's clap for him. Clap for Professor. Thank you so much, Professor, the one leading the Uganda Cancer Institute, because you realize now that we cannot talk about the future without talking about cancer. 80%. Those figures, please, are very critical for all of us. Your parents, your leaders, your policymakers, please join me in giving a round of applause for the arrival of Honorable Minister Balu Kabyanga, the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance. You're welcome, Honorable Minister. Also, in a special way, allow me to welcome a very important man, a board member of Global Peace Foundation, but also the president of Remax International. This is the biggest real estate company in the world. You're welcome, Honorable. I also usually call him Your Excellency. Please give him a hand of applause for really leaving his big schedule to be part of this important dialogue for sustainable future. Now, because of time, let us really rush very fast to have another professor, because the professors give narrative that shape the future. They do research. They have tons of books they have written. So let's share their wisdom. It's critical. So we have the last speaker on this in this session. That is Professor Johnson Muyodi. He's coming from the College of National Science, Makerere University, but he also leads the consultancy team of NEMA. Please give him a hand of applause. Professor, you're welcome to share your views on the future, sustainable future. You're welcome, Professor.
Thank you so much, convener. I want to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank our honorable ministers who are here, Honorable Mruli Mukasa. I'm so privileged, Honorable Banga, the executives who are here. I don't want to mention the names because I can easily make mistakes, but I have to follow the protocol that has already been given. I want, first of all, to thank Mr. Kambura and your team for giving us this opportunity. It is a unique opportunity for us to be able to come here and share, learn from all the views that are coming from all the leaders, all the executives and everyone. Just as I say, I come from Makerere University. By profession, a water resources management specialist and environmental health. I'm based in the College of Natural Sciences from Makerere University, but I'm also leading a team of experts which is developing what we call the National Strategy for the Management of Plastic Pollution in Uganda, and this is spearheaded by the National Environment Management Authority. I want to take you through some of what we have gathered so far as regards to plastics and the plastic wastes. I was given a topic. Maybe I sent a soft copy, maybe you would have, but I can still run through if you can't project it. The topic I was given is recycling as an alternative that is called for improved mindset towards businesses that protect the environment and human life. I want first of all to give a background on wastes. The activities that we do everywhere usually result into production of wastes. This will be whatever you're doing. Even here, right from here, we are producing wastes. Look at the tables. We have mineral water bottles. But we even have other things. After this conference, after this dialogue here, we shall have wastes. So all human activities lead to generation of wastes. And some of these wastes are very bad. Some of them are dust. Some of them cause problems not only to us as man or human beings, but even other animals outside, livestock. It could be the plants. It could be that life which is found living within the water, living within the forest, and so on. So generation of waste is dangerous because it causes problems. But if we can manage it, then we can mitigate some of those problems. Right. So what are the major threats? One, some of these wastes, just as Professor Orem has just hinted, some of these wastes produce toxic materials which are dangerous to our health. Some of these materials are carcinogenic. He has just said that maybe some of them could be leading to cancer. So we have studies which have been carried here and there, and they point towards that. Not all of us could lead to that, but we find that some of them could lead to carcinogenic, and therefore they could lead to cancerous problems. We also have seen lots of our drainage channels, the Nakifogo channel, and many other channels here in Kampala, but of course even in other areas. We see them getting clogged with some of these wastes. The plastic waste are always there. You see them floating. When it rains, the runoff is full of nothing but this plastic waste. Of course, there are those other wastes, but the problem with this plastic waste is that they are not being degraded. They are not being biodegraded. The others, like market waste, food waste, and so on, easily get degraded, but these ones continue accumulating and therefore lead to floods. Floods are very common. It rains just a little here, and you see Kampala flooding. You see Masaka, other places flooding. So those are some of the threats that we need to handle. Then, these also lead to diseases. Some of these drainages, when the water recedes, leaves pools here and there. Those pools serve as homes. We find them as habitats for those vectors, for those kinds of organisms which could lead to transferring or moving of those other organism agencies which could lead to diseases. And then we also find that our agricultural soils are contaminated with plastics and other waste, but especially plastics. The soils have become infertile. You know why? Because they are being clogged. These plastics don't allow water to pass through. Within the soil there are holes. We call them as pores. Those pores, those holes which allow the water to flow through are being blocked. They are being clogged by these plastics. And therefore the soils are becoming infertile. You plant, but you don't get good yield as it is expected. Of course, there is also introduction of other chemicals which are contained within the plastics. Then we have endangering of the lives of man, livestock. We have had plant, we have had livestock. Livestock also, some of these animals, the cows, when they get those plastics, they think they are good. They eat them. And many of them have died from that. When they are slaughtered, some of the causes are realized after, when they check the inside, the stomachs and so on. They have been found with plastic materials. And this is dangerous. We need to do something. So those are some of the threats that are associated with plastics. So we have what we refer to as a waste hierarchy. A waste hierarchy helps us look at what we can do in order to be able, to handle this problem of waste. So a waste hierarchy starts with at the bottom. It's actually it is unfortunate that we cannot project that. But a waste hierarchy at the bottom starts with what we refer to as uncontrolled disposal, whereby things are just being thrown here and there, left and right. They are not controlled at all. We want to move away from there. At the moment, in most places, that is what we have. It is we have uncontrolled disposal of these wastes. Then from there, we are aiming at having controlled disposal of the waste, so that we can at least have organized places. Then from there, when we look at the hierarchy, the next is where we go to creation of what we refer to as a sanitary landfill. Kitezi is a sanitary landfill. But we want to have as many as possible so that we control this habit of throwing, disposing waste anywhere, anyhow. Then from there, we move towards the top. We have reduce, recycle, reuse, and on the top we have what we refer to as prevention. That is where we are aiming. So in order for us to reach there, we have to move from the current linear economy. Linear economy is where we are moving in a line. You are producing the waste here. From the waste, you go and dispose them. You are not, there is nothing else that you are doing to them. We want to move what we refer to as a circular economy. A circular economy means things have to move in a circle. There is no waste here. What would have been a waste is a resource. So a circular economy helps us to make sure that we handle all of those, that will be, that is what is referred to as the circular economy. We have the raw materials. You produce the different products that are used by those manufacturing companies, and I'm glad that we have some of them here, representatives. They produce the products. Those products are used. They go out to the consumers. Once you have used the contents of those, the contents within those plastic materials, they become partly waste because you have cut out what was there. And then they have this and must be reused, or they must be recycled, and then they are pushed back to manufacturers who produce fresh or new things which can use. So there is no throwing, there is no waste. So right now, Uganda, we are planning to move from a linear economy towards what we refer to as a circular economy. So it means everyone will have something to do, because the waste become resources. The manufacturer has what to do. Those producing products have something to do. Those who are picking the different kinds of wastes, the plastic waste, those bottles, those bottles, water bottles which are thrown, the juices and so on and so forth, have something to do. So everyone has something to do. All right. Can you go to the next? You can go to the next slide. All right. So as I said, the government, of course, through NEMA, is developing a strategy for the management of plastic pollution in Uganda. And why do we need this strategy? One, the strategy sets standards. We must follow standards on how to handle these wastes. We need to conserve the environment while reducing the pollution which is caused by these plastics and all other wastes. We need to reduce, to handle the hazards. We need to reduce the adverse consequences to the lives of the people, ourselves, to the lives of those other organisms in the water bodies, in Lake Victoria, the River Nile, and everywhere, or the wetlands and so on, and also in the other parts of the environment. Could be the forest, which refers as the terrestrial environment. Fine. This strategy has a vision. The vision is to contribute to a clean, healthy, productive, and sustainable environment. And the goal of the strategy is to promote sound management and prudent use of plastics in Uganda. How are we going to do this? Okay? So we have come up with strategic objectives which are going to help us achieve our desires so that we move from the current linear economy into the circular economy. The first strategic objective is, one, to review the policies, the legislation, and the economic instruments to reduce plastic waste quantities. That is the first strategic objective. We must have the law in place. We must be supported. If we don't have that in place, it will become very difficult. You will propose to say, what is the law? What is the law? What gives you us to? So first of all, we must review the policies, we must review the legislations, economic instruments to produce the plastic waste quantities. Two, we must inculcate responsible public behavior on plastic waste management. The behavior. People have, they don't care. I don't care. I'm sure some of you, when you are coming here even this morning, you could have seen some bottles of mineral water flying from the windows of the vehicles. But these carrier bags, the providers and so on, everywhere and so on. There's that I don't care attitude. So we want to inculcate responsible public behavior on plastic waste management. We need to train people, we need to sensitize, we need to do everything that it requires to make sure that stakeholders or people get to know the dangers of this. Three, we need to promote plastic waste segregation at source. Segregation at source. Our colleagues, our investors who are investing in this recycling, they are having challenges. They are incurring loss of costs. You pick, this pickers go, those who pick, go and pick from a jar, from a place which is, there's open dump inside. They are dirty, mixed up with this and that. So it becomes very difficult for them to recycle this material, to work on these wastes. So we want to promote plastic waste segregation at source and also make it an income generating venture so that whoever is picking is assured of one incentive, is assured of some payment or something like that. If you don't do that, then they will not pay and they will accumulate in the environment. This will require all of us, to work together. We need a holistic approach. That, like it has been done in some other countries, well, I'm sure it will be done if we handle it that way. 4, we need to promote resource recovery for materials and energy generation. We can generate energy out of these wastes. There is a lot of energy can be from biogas is one of them. And there are many others. So if we support these ventures, then we can contribute a lot. Much of the waste that we produce, especially in these urban areas, is about 70% organic. 70% food, those things from plants and animals. And we can get energy out of them. Otherwise, if we just pick out maybe only the plastics and leave the rest, then we have almost done something, but little. We also have a strategic objective that is to establish environmentally sound infrastructure and systems for plastic waste management. If you don't have the infrastructure and you are telling everyone, don't dump, don't throw, it will not work. We must provide the infrastructure. Where are the bins? Where are the skips? Where the transporting those which have been, maybe collected here and there. So we must have establish an environmental sound and infrastructure and systems for the plastic waste management. We have a strategic objective to collect high quality data and statistics on waste management. Professor Liam has already given this one as one of the recommendations. Actually, I'm very glad that my team is picking a lot of inputs from this, and we shall contact you for more recommendations. Otherwise, if you don't have data, we are having challenges. We have moved to stakeholders here and there, but there is no data. You can't believe it. There is no data on plastic wastes. You go and ask how much do you import. Someone is, they are not sure. How much do you produce? They are not sure. They are only estimates. Even when you go to some of those, our agencies, the real government agencies, where we expect them to have data, there is no data, just scanty. So we have a strategic objective to collect data on this and statistics so that we can use it for monitoring the management of these wastes. Then, raise public awareness on waste management in order to minimize the generation of waste, including the plastics. Awareness. Again, here the previous speakers have hinted on this. The two speakers have hinted on this. It is important. Awareness is let everyone know the dangers. Let everyone know how we can have these as resources, as a resource, income generating. Let everyone know that if I don't do this, then I will be hurting not only myself, but even my neighbor and other players within this environment. We also need to promote prevention and reduction of litter from land-based sources to water bodies. You have seen how our aquatic environments, these are the lakes, the rivers, the swamps, which sometimes referred as the wetlands and so on. These are really so highly contaminated. There is dirty dumping, sometimes dumping at night, sometimes dumping, but also wind blows into here and there. We want to control that. So we have a strategic objective which is coming to handle that. And finally, we have the last objective is to identify and apply best recycling technologies that is geared towards helping, working together with our funders, our investors who are investing a lot in recycling and so on. We want to come up. What are these best recycling technologies that can be used so that we handle this problem of plastic and other wastes? What approaches do we intend to use? The next slide is approaches, if you can flash. Yes, those are the approaches that we want to use. One, we need to strategically align and recognize the partners. We have partners here, but we need to recognize them. We align them, we know so and so, such an agency is dealing in recycling, such an agency is dealing in this and that. So that is very, very important. Two, we shall want to introduction of incentives for the 3 R's: reuse, recycle, reduce. We must have put incentives. If there are no incentives, little will be done. What about the taxes? Somehow we may propose. I know this may hurt. It may hurt some sectors here and there, but we may have to. Stakeholders who are operating in this area have expressed concerns. There is sometimes competition between the service providers. Some of them are government service providers competing with the private ones. They propose that if they would reduce gazetting of the areas, we know such and such an area, maybe KCCA would be responsible for that area, then it will be responsible by the other service provider and so on, to avoid that competition, which is not healthy. We also want to upscale the activities of the informal sector. Most of those handling waste recycling, this baking and so on and so forth are mostly informal, the largest percentage. But we want, how can we upgrade them? So we upscale them, the activities from the informal to the existing formal recycling establishments, and also finally establishment of structure, I've talked about infrastructure. This is an approach. We should establish an infrastructure which helps us to handle these wastes and the systems for phasing out illegal and crude dump sites to established sanitary landfills. So those are the 9 approaches that we hope will be able to lead us to where we want to go. Finally, I just want to talk about briefly the plastic supply chain in Uganda. This one is emphasizing that everyone is involved. Holistic approach. Those in producing raw materials, those in manufacturing, and those involved in this disposal of these one, which includes recycling, reuse, disposal, and so on. I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
We want to thank Professor Yodi for that very elaborate explanation and the advocacy for the interest to conserve our environment such that we have a sustainable life and a meaningful one. At this material moment, we want to inform you that our program is fast running as we wait for EcoPlex to come and do a presentation, then the Association of Producers and Recycling Association members as well. We will want to invite one strong advocate, a musician turned advocate, Fina Masanyarose, come in front here with her latest song and usher to what she thinks is the best way of having to conserve an environment. Kindly be very fast because of time. So the Association of Producers and Recyclers will have a representative to come in front here to give a case in the contention that we have. So Fina Masanyarase, please come. Give a thunderous hand clap for her. Many of you remember her for those peaceful movements. Today she's going to do something different to us, and she's now an advocate for the management of the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. God is good all the time. Good evening to you all. Good afternoon. My name is Fina Masanyarase. I'm the General Secretary to the Uganda Musicians Association. I'm a patriot and I'm a climate change ambassador. I thank so much the Global Peace Foundation for organizing this event. This is part of the awareness procedures. I always cry out to the government. Dear Honorable Ministers, I salute you and I'm so humbled to stand in front of you. All along, I've been crying out to the government to see the importance of the creative industry. You can see very much and so important information has been put across. As I've been listening from the beginning, I have almost 5 songs here. Awareness about cancer, waste, climate, food chain, each and everything. There is need for more sensitization. It is a global change. Please, government and all other organizations, use the creative industry. We are the quickest communicators and we are influencers. If any fan of mine sees me saying something, he or she will follow. I'm the Ugandan Shakira, the only dancer who is flexible on this planet. So besides dancing, I need the government to use my brand. We are trying as much as possible to come up with very good brands that can represent our country. The creative industry is ready to work with the government via sensitization and awareness. The reason as to why I say we are the quickest communicators, by the time you organize a conference, my music is already in the bedroom of any Ugandan who needs to listen to that. And he will listen to it. Ugandans, we are not so good at reading, but we are good at listening, most especially through music. So I appeal to the government and all other organizations, with due respect, we humbly request to work with you via sensitization and awareness, and we are ready for that. I don't know how, Mr. Kambla, excuse me. The Uganda Musicians Association is the body that governs the Ugandan musicians nationally. We have 16 clusters. That means we can sing in every language. We have clusters up to Karamoja. That means they can also sing about peace in their region. So I appeal to the government to work hand in hand with the creatives. Another issue I saw about the presentations, education. Mr. Kambra, thank you so much for this platform. I've been crying out to talk to the people concerned. We really need to change the syllabus. We really need to teach our children from childhood. I have a 4-year-old kid. If I begin teaching him how to use the environment, how to be a patriot, that means by the time he comes to my age, he will be a very important citizen who is helpful to his country. So I appeal to the education, Minister of Education, please let us sit down and go back to the drawing board. We should change the syllabus. There are so many things I studied about that are not helping me right now. We should go practical and see what is affecting our country. I composed a song about climate and food security. Climate has caused something bad about our food chain. We no longer have food because we are not minding about climate. If it's not raining, automatically that means we won't get food. And what is affecting us when it comes to climate? It is us. That is why I named my song, It's You and I Together. It's you and I together for a better weather. Tunafunda kumbele egoma embele chuse. Mama says seasons are changing. We see no rain, no more can see ya tugwesa muchafu. It is us to blame. Together tunawakilisha. Tongowe tokowe Africa. Pamoja tunaweza tuwakilisha kuwa bora. So it's you and I together. Chitukakata kuleta stand. This is our fate. It is us, not anyone else. Professor talked about behaviors. That is another song. We have to teach people how to behave. You can see someone putting on a tie and is throwing out a bottle from the window of the car. That is behavior. We don't have in our syllabus from childhood. We don't learn about that. We need to put those in the syllabus. So behaviors, so please, the government should give us the opportunity because we are teachers. We need to teach people through music. We want to use edutainment to change our world and to move the way it is moving. It is moving at a terrific speed for God and my country.
I think that time. Please give her a hand of power. She has a lot of energy. Indeed, she's Masanyalazi. But you know, they are leaving the other ordinary platform. They are coming back to the sustainable land. So because of COVID, of course, they have also learned that unless you produce something, good for the community, then you can sell. Yes, Masanyalazi, thank you for leading the Uganda Musicians Association with Cindy, your president. We really partnered with them 2 years ago, and with our Global Peace Foundation, we want to really use them to change the mindset of Ugandans, but also moving with them to India. You know, Prime Minister Modi is going to host the Global Peace Leadership Conference in February. Honorable Minister, with your blessing, I think I can say that. So our musicians want to really connect Asia with Africa and find a way of proving cultural value through music, and so we can achieve much. Thank you, my sister. Now, because of time, because we are supposed to be here for the next around 20 minutes, because we pay up to midday, but then we have increased a little, few minutes. So before we come to the award ceremony, because of the need of our investors, really somehow use 5 minutes, 2 minutes, so that the honorable ministers can also listen to you as we are talking about the policy on this whole sector. So with your permission, allow me just 2-3 minutes to EcoBricks. This is becoming a global brand in waste management across the world, under the leadership of our brother, Mr. Andre. I saw the whole story on CNN and Al Jazeera sometime back, and I said, wow, this is really very extraordinary. So listening to them, we want to see, is this possible, honorable ministers, to really jumpstart a recycling economy in the country? Of course, the purveyors, there is a lot of discussion. And the Prime Minister seems to want a dialogue, a conclusive resolution of today, so that the President, through your presence, can be guided. The bill has not been signed. So somehow, we are here also to put our hands together of a man himself, the man himself, Mr. Joshua Chitakule, that name I like it, my brother. The Secretary General, not the other Secretary General, Secretary General of Interreligious Council of Uganda. Please stand up for recognition. That man has been my brother for 20 years. 20 years working together, deepening peace. You remember the presidential debate, right? I think you will organize us another 2026, somehow like that. So, Andre, share your experience, brother. We are in the battlefield. Please command us well so that we know which direction to take, sir.
I'll do my best. So yeah, I want to actually talk about really tangible solutions and ideas that we can act on to achieve a lot of the goals that have been presented today. So it's an honour to be here, an honour to present in front of you guys. We are EcoBricks. EcoBricks is based in Masaka, and we recycle up to 50 tonnes of plastic a month, and we turn that into tangible products that are sold nationally and internationally. But what I really want to focus on is not so much our work, but actually ideas that can be put in place to improve recycling across the country. So one is that I think there are people here from the Uganda Manufacturers Association and Recycling Association. I want to say really concretely that we really support, as recyclers, the tax on single-use plastic, especially the tax that is currently out there and being in Parliament. I think it is being presented now, a tax on that 30 micron or less materials. I know there is a message being put out there currently that states that if we tax this plastic, it will mean there are less jobs in the recycling economy. This is not a true fact. I can say that as someone who is engaged in recycling. So that is not a factual statement. Overall, in Uganda, I think all of us that are engaged in recycling do a maximum of 10% of the plastic that is produced every day. So if you think that we're only doing 10%, a tax, we hope, would reduce that, and there would still be more than enough plastic for us to keep the employment sector and that informal community afloat through recycling. So please tax that single-use plastic. And then that tax is the money that can be reinvested into programs like education and into programs like recycling. So I know that there's lots of ideas, but they all need funding. So that is a fairly simple way. I know it's got more complicated than it looks, but it is a way of getting that money together for the education and the increase in recycling. The other one that I would like to speak about now is have the ability, actually some of the plastic producers, your large companies, get tax relief. So they actually get a tax benefits as these large producers. And in some cases it makes sense, they create a lot of jobs and employment, so they get tax benefits. As recyclers, we actually don't get any tax benefits. And we've had to import some machinery, and we've paid over 50% import tax on some of these machines. If there was a tax relief or a tax benefit for recycling and green economy, just like there was in coffee, introduced to boost the coffee industry, then you would see a massive increase in recycling and other green initiatives very, very rapidly, just like we did in coffee when there was a tax relief provided for the coffee industry. So I think there's some tangible ways that can make a big difference. Another way that we're doing and trying to pioneer as EcoBricks is we're establishing the Uganda Recycling Association. And this association is not to represent us as EcoBricks, but to actually represent the people doing the work on the ground. So that is the informal waste pickers. Without them, there really wouldn't be any solid waste management in Uganda. So it's hugely important to recognise them that actually do the work of collecting the plastic. So we've created an association, starting in Masaka, where we are located, but we're hoping to take it nationally. And we actually have one of our elected leaders here today, Josephine, who is a resource recovery agent and empowers women within her community to collect plastic and sell it into us. And they hold us accountable. We've helped them build in their constitution that they hold us accountable by us having to provide them with contracts of employment to state we won't fluctuate the price of plastic like this overnight, so it gives them some job security, and to give them the correct PPE equipment that they need to work in a safer environment. So we currently have 500 plus members. We're expanding this out, and we want to have thousands of members, but it's not an EcoBricks association. You can call it that we are unionising our resource recovery agents, the informal waste sector, to supply us, to hold us and others accountable. Because that's how much we are passionate about this work. So I wanted to raise those points as really clear, actionable points that I think can be done, and to really stress that as recyclers we support a tax on single-use plastic, especially the Kavera, which is very hard to collect and recycle anyway, because it contains loads of contaminants and dirt and different things because of the way it is used. So, and it is a poor quality plastic, it is that very, very fine plastic, so it makes it harder to recycle and harder to collect. So I really want to stress those, so it doesn't actually get recycled. So that process is a very challenging process. So we should focus on empowering those that are already engaged and increasing that sector. I'm very happy to speak more about it, and it can create huge amounts of jobs. But I think actually I'd like to quickly hand over to Josephine to say something, because you are the one doing the work. So if you have anything you would like to add, give her a hand, come on.
Thank you, Andy. Minister, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a woman from Masaka. I'm Josephine Namayanje. I'm the one who was elected by all members who pick plastics from the environment. We have very many people, men and women. Whenever you pick, we are getting food. Whenever you pick, we are getting money. So schools are now engaged. They are now engaged in collecting plastics. So please, members who are here, if you are a teacher or any other person who can reach down to schools, you go down there and tell the teachers to tell the children to pick plastics from the environment. That is when we are going to get money. And I mean food, even money, you can get money, because I pick, I take to Andy and gives me money. I sell to him. All the plastics I collect, I take to Andy's recycling branch, and they give me money. I take back to schools, to those teachers who have collected the plastics from helping the children to collect plastics. Then the teachers give the children that small money I gave them to buy books and pens, bags, book, everything like the child needs. So if you are here, you can to the schools, go there, please. Our Honorable Minister, that is also something which can help our schools. Those children in schools, once they pick plastics, they will know that the plastics which has been made is not good. From this age of P1, P2, they will understand that the plastic which is inside our gardens is not good, because we are no longer getting food. Once that plastic goes to the soil, it is going to spend 500 years when it has not rotten, but the soil is not getting rain. Once you plant food on that plastic bottle, it will not grow. Then we shall not get food. I think that is what I can say about picking plastics. I go down, pick plastics, even in town. I always move with my kavera, and now here talking with you, I have the kavera in my bag. Once you finish up your water, I'm going to take the chupa, all the plastics. Now I'm here waiting for anybody who finishes water. I take a chupa, because at the end of the day, I will earn money from, and then I take to my children, friends, and like that. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you everybody to listen to me. Spina Masanyalaze, you have touched me, because I'm also a teacher by profession, and I've been teaching children to collect plastics. So that is very good of you. I will get your contact and we talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. I'd also just want to give a quick word to my colleague Daniel, who is a close friend of Milton as well, and is our connection to this event. And also a quick thank you to Milton for this opportunity to present, because unlike the producers of plastic, we don't have a huge budget to be able to speak out and say what we want to do and lobby. So we rely on events like this, which give us the platform to be able to have our say as well. So thank you. And Dan.
Thank you so much, Andy. Ambassador Milton, it's really an appreciation that I'm here today, and all my mentors, Mr. Kalisa, it's a privilege to be here seeing you, and Mr. Honorable, thank you so much for coming here. We talked about education in plastics and environment. I can tell you that we always have a saying in Masaka that Uganda should move from teaching who discovered the Nile to how we protect the Nile. If and when we do that, we should start teaching children how to protect the Nile instead of who discovered the Nile. I think it's high time we did that. So one of the things we are doing, we've created a map. We are creating a map for all the waste pickers in our country. So if there is any waste picker in a region, we've been picking coordinates. These coordinates we are putting them on a map, so that when you are here, you are like, Ezra, I want to recycle, and I have to take water. But I can't see anyone who recycles around me. What should I do? That is always one of the frequently asked questions. Where should I do? Where should I go? So we've created a map where you just click on it and see collectors around you. Just take your bottle, throw them. You're going to Kasese. You're having bottles in your bus. You are like, I can't throw them through the window. Even if I take them to Kasese, no one is going to recycle them from Kasese. But I have to take water at the end of the day. What should I do? You look on the map. Before you just reach Chivoga, as long as you're using Link on that road, you'll just see that here there's a recycler around here. And also, Ambassador, through your innovative leadership and aspirations, we've made a boat out of plastic. The boat really is 100% plastic, and it is made in Masaka. It is really good, and our major story is how much bottles are in there. The boat weighs 500 kgs, and those 500 kgs, it contains 17,500 bottles. And that is what I can tell you. We have a recycling plant in Masaka. In the last 5 years, we've collected close to 500 tons of waste plastic, Minister. in those final tons of waste plastic, they contain 26 million bottles altogether. And that shows that at least out of every 2 Ugandans, we've recycled 1 bottle for 1 person. So that's the story we read out. Every time we talk about the environment and plastic, it's most of the you against us. We are blaming the government is blaming us, the government, we are blaming civil societies, we are blaming manufacturers. We should move up out of that and do innovations. Behind there is a table. You will see most of the products we made. We created fiber out of this. You will see it on the table because we believe we no longer have cotton farms. So we made polyester out of these plastics. So these and many more things are out there. So I call upon everyone, the government and other institutions, to invest into research and see how much we can go and how far we can move. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm only imagining and wondering whether the chairperson of the association recyclers has said something already. But from the presentation that I heard from the lady from Masaka and him as well, I think it's done. So the major aspects are almost literally done. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a situation where we are going to recognize outstanding individuals in different personalities and ways in ensuring that our country is what it is now. I would ask that the team that is in charge of ushering and organizing has these gifts around and let them be ready. But before that, I've been reliably informed that the executive secretary for recyclers is around. Please, you have a few minutes here to come and pick up your arguments. Thank you very much. If we could only use 3 to 4, that would be very good. Thank you. Can I give him a third?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to have gotten this opportunity to speak on behalf of Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association. I congratulate my former mayor and now my minister, Mr. Kabianga Godfrey. I'm happy to meet you on this platform. Brother, thank you for coming for this event. Because of time, I would like to go straight and hit point after point and avoid this paper reading. Otherwise, some of these things have been hinted on and you already know these facts. But there are more issues to know about recycling, green economy, green manufacturing, which is a trend globally. Uganda is not going to start it today as a first thing. We're just encouraging that there is that science that exists around the world. And what are we doing? Are we one of the people that champion the science, or we're one of the people who criticize, sabotage science innovations? Uganda Plastic Manufacturers starts the road from as far as 2005. We're over as far as concerned from active production and recycling of plastics for the last 13 years. We have been working. Someone was saying we have done over 500 metric tons of recycling. I'm happy from my quick mathematics on my table there when he was talking. I was very impressed that if I told you we are capable of recycling 75 metric tons per month, I'll tell you in the last years of existence, Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association has a total of 9 million metric tons of recycling, if you total and bring your summation clear on your table. We are over 80 industries under this association. Over 50 in active recycling. The others also depend on the raw material that we recycle. You know, the best thing to know is that plastic is about transformation. If you go to the history of plastic, I'm glad last time the president of the country was talking about it and giving you very clear in brief of this science, that why do you people fear plastics? I can quote him direct. President Yoweri Museveni, when he was opening one of the recycling factories 2-3 weeks back around Matuka. Why do you fear plastics? Way back in our times, we used to have Bikapo, we used to have Devi for packaging, carrying Rumonde, carrying Matoke from the market to home, and baskets. And then he says, there comes again a transformed packaging which was about glass. In here, they were talking behavioral change, managing plastic, and pushing hard forefront recycling science to curtail and stop the problem of recycling in our ecosystem. It is you and me to blame, because if I start from here, before I even bring my goods which are brought to understand the gist of plastic, before we even talk of recycling. There are many ladies in this room who are putting on, plaited hair. Did you know that that is polyester plastic? Some of you, did you know that that is polyester plastic? Some of you are putting on nice shirts, magnificent, good to look at, glad, smart. Did you know you're putting on polyester percentage of plastic on your body? A lot of plastic exists. Our bottles, the way they are placed before us, is plastic. Placards, plastic. Plastic is everywhere. But the problem with our people, which I have seen has minimized on global perspective, but now we have a disease in Uganda. They will start talking, this plastic is bad, this plastic is bad. They are tackling 70%, they are leaving 93% of plastic untouched, free, non-talkable. There's what we call the despicable, dangerous plastic in our understanding, which our people don't see, but they are everywhere around us. I'll ask my brother to come and put for me these plastics on this table as I continue to explain. So, over years, when Upumra was existing, started finding its way into existence, there were areas where we wanted to understand, what do you do with plastic? I'll give you a quick example of South African Plastic Federation, which is one of the best associations that has exhibited very good awareness on plastic management, and its existence came from errors that had been created in that country. Some time back, South Africa stood up and said, no, we don't want this kind of plastic. Let's ban. When they banned, more than 200 industries closed down. When these people were just out of these factories, they became a catastrophe, menace in the society. They were a form of serious urban security. Everything happening because they had to survive. They had no jobs, they were living on streets, stealing here, there, and everywhere. Now, the plastic, of course, the system, the government had to understand, what is this? Where is this form of insecurity? When they realized actually these were survivors who had been kicked out of these industries on closure. So, but what's the problem? The machinery are still there, industry are closed, investors are there sleeping at home. So no, there is somewhere where you have to tackle. They brought in the recycling science. They put actually laws that if we have conditioned them, if you have to open, you must put recycling systems, you must create awareness, you must do what you call full format waste management. Waste management systems, which I could have had maybe projected there, is when
you have all your cities, your towns with gazetted dumping points and sorting systems. You have a bin at a point where you put your plastic bag, you put your paper bag, you put your glass bottle, your metal, your food waste. So that the man who is dealing in manure and fertilizers, direct of that source, pick all the food waste, go and do manure, promote agriculture. Of glass, go and continue producing glass. Metal, go and to the steel and roll mill, temple steel and roll mills and what do you call it, all this. Plastic bags, take them to zero recycling. Take them to convening. We have spread, I told you we have over 50 industries promoting very fast tracked and updated technologies in this country. Because these technologies are not coming only to clean the environment, they have just come to make sure they help us to get rid of highly costed raw materials from the Arab petro countries. When we have this raw material, we are relieved of these heavy cost taxes, varying in containers at high costs. And when you are going out, please endeavor to look at that table which you have put outside there. It has some of the products that are transformed from plastic recycling. When I get my Cavera, which is a talk around town, everybody who has not started deep the recycling systems, say, Cavera fail. They forget the 70%. They forget these ones, petty bottles, HDP, LDP, PP, are everywhere in the supermarkets, and every day we use them. So now, what are we saying? We have a chance to promote recycling, and we still appreciate the government system, the policy, that they have understood this, because we did a lot of work downwards. Don't young Chinese. What you saw there, it was there with nobody to buy. No recycling system to recycle, because you cannot bring in a country like that a recycler, because they are fearing what will be the future. You have no clear policy. How can I put my money in your country? You get it? So actually, sometime before even go there, they started coming to my office here in Jerusalem. You know what? You people are doing recycling. We keep seeing you on TV. We have over 500 tons of Uvera. Please come and pick. I say, Wapi. Stay with your problem. So that it can be a lesson to those who think it is correct what you're doing. In Kigali, by the way, when you go to Kigali, you go a radius of 10 to 15 kilometers round town. It's totally clean. There are boys who have been deployed and women to clean, pick every rubbish, pick every garbage, pick every paper, pick even insects which are dead on the street. They pick. You, when you come to Zungu, you reach, where is this Singapore of Africa? You are very impressed. It's the cleanest city. Drive 25 meters to Duba landing site. You will find all the problem there. What is the problem? In my language, they say, you are cleaning on top, but rotten inside. The mango which looks nice on top, when you cut it, you see what you call them, these ones. I don't know how to call them on before cameras. So this one, then we are actually leading nowhere. We are in the middle of a road leading nowhere. When you talk of single plastic, we have over 50 of them. But they just look at one piece and leave the 49. This one don't talk. But I'll tell you, every economics, every trade has issues. We have had problems with packaging. Now I'll tell you briefly, because I don't have other bags here in front of me, and why the war has sustained and problematic. This is a plastic bag. There is a paper bag, which we always say we recommend, right? Paper bag worldwide come from forests. If you want paper bag, you must cut trees to produce paper bags. They recommend it. Say, now, how can you, are you environmentalist? Mr. Well, you start the science. You are promoting to cut trees and make papers. You are removing a 100% recyclable product. Where's the science you have started, my brother? You wash it, pass through the machine, he knows, my brother. So we have seen it all, and that told everyone that if you say you want to remove 7%, leave 93%, are you for environment or you are facilitating industrial war between paper bags, between non-woven bags which are in the supermarket, which came as the cotton bags, but yet pure Gavera, or you are facilitating an end of employment and all the contributions that these industries are providing to the nation. I want to conclude by saying that are providing to the nation. I want to conclude by saying that we stand strong to continue and promote and push forward recycling. As Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association, we commit and agree to continue picking all this plastic, to continue improving on the technologies that we have.
You have over your shoulders. This nation is waiting for answers, and the answers sometimes may not please many or please others. So that is it. But that's leadership. We want to thank everybody for coming. In this house are institutions of learning. Kakungulu Memorial is here. Thank you very much for coming. That's the deputy for Kakungulu Memorial is around. The environment is right down to sustainable development for institutions. We have progressive basis digitally. The headmaster is with us. It's trickling down to institutions. We have Fairland High School in Mukono. The headmaster is with us here. Thank you very much. And whoever has not been seen as an institution, we recognize. We have City High School, right adjacent here. City High School, thank you very much. You notice that City High School is surrounded by a forest, a mini forest. Good conservation. Thank you so much. At this particular moment, ladies and gentlemen, dear ministers, it's time for recognition of outstanding individuals in this country, especially at critical moments of the nation. I shall call kindly the person, the recipient of the award. Then I'll also go ahead to call upon the person who shall be granted the opportunity to make that award or to present that award. We will ask that the recipient of the award in about a minute or two says something, and where possible, maybe the one awarding, because we all important personalities here, shall also say something. I want to ask my ushers to come and have these awards ready. I already asked that earlier. Can I have something while the ushers, the awards are here? Mr. Ezra, please come. The first award shall go to Mr. Chitakuli Joshua. He is with us here. We want to thank him, maybe as the organized. We want to thank him for the outstanding service. 17 years in the interreligious faith council. How important it is for the religious council to have been through a lot. There is nothing more important than nurturing faith, because then it is what we believe that we exude out. The Muslims in this country, the Catholics in this country, the Seventh-day Adventists in this country, the Protestants in this country, the other faith in this country. Very important indeed. To give him this award, I will ask Ambassador Walusimbi Abe, a renowned dictator, to come and volunteer a diplomat in the office of the president, in charge of the diaspora, to come and present the award to Mr. Chitakuli Joshua. Thank you very much. Very understanding. Can we have the gentleman with the cameras right present here? Mr. Chitakuli, you will receive this award. I will also ask Ambassador Milton to come in front here to be part of this. For 17 years dedicated service into the Religious Council. So this.
Hello? Yes, I take this opportunity to present this award for Interfaith Management Award 2021 to our Honorable Mr. Chitakule Joshua, awarded for outstanding leadership that has made it possible for faith and religious leaders unite towards shared vision of turning religions and faith traditions as catalysts and theaters for peace. So please accept this award on behalf of the
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And thank you very much, Global Peace Foundation, for recognizing me for this gesture. And I want to commit myself again that I continue working in deepening positive peace, but also building bridges between the faith institutions and other actors in the country to make sure that we have sustainable peace in the country, but also within the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chitakuli, and then of course, Ambassador Walusimbi, for that powerful and wonderful occasion. Now, I would want to go to the second award. The second award tonight, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Professor Patrick Okwan Enyeo. Professor Enyeo is the judge. That is the award for Professor Enyeo Patrick Okwan.
First of all, I'm happy to see the famous doctor. At least 2 of my relatives were treated by COVID-19. It's a very good opportunity for me to be the one giving you this award. And I think thank you for answering the call by His Excellency the President of our scientists to really go into research. And right now I think you will even do better because you have enhanced your standards. And the minister in charge of enhancing is here. And the minister in charge of enhancing is here. So you can ask him to even enhance more. I thank you, and please continue discovering more medicine. Even that of Ebola, I think you should do it as soon as possible. The award which we are going to give to Dr. Patrick, the other names are complicated. I'm not going to venture into that. It's an award for fighting COVID-19 pandemic using indigenous knowledge and herbal medicine. And I think this is very, very great for we Ugandans and Africans. I thank you.
Thank you so much. That wonderful photo moment. Very remarkable. 2 outstanding personalities, Professor Okwan and then Mr. Chitakuli Joshua.
Our honorable ministers present here, members of the board of Global Peace Foundation, the Ambassador Peace Foundation chapter in Uganda, members from other chapters, our government officials, and all members present. First, I want to begin by giving glory to God, because it is Him who gives wisdom and excellence. Secondly, I want to also thank God for that's in Uganda currently, led by HE, President Museveni, and the Cabinet. For one, ensure that we have peace and security as a country. Without peace and security, there's nothing you can do. You cannot be the lab working when there are guns around moving, you are firing here and there. So we must be grateful to God and also to leadership there that we have peace in the country, so we can do many things. I also want to thank government for supporting scientists. You know, research and indigenous knowledge is not funded by foreign governments. They don't fund it. Donors don't fund it because you are creating a competition with them. All my life, my work has been supported by government. I compete for grants. National Council was funding. We got money from government to do research. So it has not been from nothing. It has been over 17 years of research, and that's what support from government. However small it was, put it to good use, something comes at the end of the day. So I'm grateful to government for the efforts towards science and technology in this country. And let us be patient. It has just been, Uganda is just how many years old? Maybe like 60. Americans are more than 300 years old. So let's be patient. The government, let's build ourselves. We shall also get there in greatness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. The humility. Thank you very much. We'll ask you eventually to return to your seat. Thank you very much. The third award is a posthumous award awarded to a person of outstanding abilities, but is not with us anymore. This award goes to the Right Honorable Jacob Olanya Lokori. The Right Honorable Jacob Olanya Lokori is one of the most outstanding speakers of parliament this country has ever had. I want to tell you in a special way that he was a personal friend to Global Peace. He helped in many ways to nurture Global Peace Foundation. At a given moment when we were supposed to have given him this award sometime, he said, let me go to the hospital. When I come back and I shall be fine, you shall give it to me. For now I am not feeling comfortable to receive the award, but I know the good Lord shall see us again. Lo and behold, the Right Honorable Jacob Olanya never made it back alive. The circumstances under which he made it back, we are all aware. Tonight, we want to give it back to him posthumously through a representative of his family, his son. We recognize him specifically for the moral and innovative leadership that he gave to Global Peace Foundation. We will ask at this moment one of the representatives who happens to be his son in this house to move forward and receive this posthumous award to the Right Honorable Jacob Olanya Lokori. That is his son. I shall ask Mr. Kalisa Mohammed to move forward. The director of RIMAX International, one of the best, if you want to call it, housing institutes in the whole world, but also most importantly, a chairperson board of governors, Global Peace Foundation, to deliver this award to the son of the late Jacob Olanya Lokori. Ambassador Milton, you may move forward. You will be able to appreciate the design of the award, decorated in a bow tie form, to recapture the moments of the late Jacob Olanya Lokori. Thank you.
Thank you, MC. Before I give this award, let me take this opportunity before our honorable ministers, Your Eminence, His Excellence, to formally thank Global Peace Foundation for giving us this wonderful platform where they look to touch our mindset towards climate, health systems, education, so that we are better people, we are better persons. I thank my colleague, His Excellency the Ambassador of Peace, Milton Kambona, for this wonderful occasion, and I thank you for many more. Today I'm happy to be with you. Mohammed Kalisa is my name, and I serve on the Global Peace Foundation as a board member. So I'm happy to be with you. But again, before I award this, I want to tell you a personal story regarding the climate. I moved to Canada where there is green energy. For them, they started early. So we migrated there as Africans. I wanted to say poor, but I avoided that. I migrated there with my family. We get an apartment on 42nd floor. You can imagine living on the 42nd floor, and you don't see any garbage. That apartment had about 300 units, and every unit had an average of, say, 4 people. You'd have expected a huge crowd, you would have expected a lot of garbage, you would have expected everything. So in our apartment, they had given us garbage bins. There were 4. For me, I thought you just throw in the one that is nearest to you. But again, the reason I say discipline, they were clearly labeled. They say bottles, they even put a picture of the bottle. They say papers, they say banana peels or something. So for us, whichever was nearest to us was where we would throw our items. For ease, I call it a display. So 2 months down the line, we got court summons from Toronto City Court. The judge summoning Kalisa and his family to come and answer the case of climate disruption, the case of, I can't even remember what they said. So we got shocked. We only 2 months in this country, we are told it is the best. And they said we will face jail for 7 months, or we pay $3,000 for disrupting the climate. So I started looking for lawyers. Lawyers wanted $20,000. The other punishment was $3,000 or 7 months in jail. So we agreed with my wife, let's look for 3,000, we go to this court. So we went to the court with my 2 daughters, young daughters. We looked so innocent Africans in the court, and the judge was there, and he was so English. So he looked at us and said, you, what are your names? We told him our names. Where do you come from? Uganda. Where is Uganda? In Africa, sir. When did you come here? 2 months ago. Did you go to school? Yes. What did you study? Blah, blah, blah. Can you read? Yes. Can you see? Yes. He looked at us. He looked at our young family. He said, you know what? I'm going to forgive you. Because you are brand new in Canada. We don't want you to paint our country as a bad country. But I would have punished you because you told me you can read, you went to school, you see that bottles go here, you put garbage. So that was a good personal experience we encountered for not putting the right garbage in the right bin. They were there, therefore. So when Ambassador came to me, telling me about Global Peace Foundation, tackling climate, tackling health, tackling education, I had to gladly accept. I have many personal stories, but they are not for today. I would have told you something on education. Having studied for 20 years and migrated to Canada as a skilled immigrant, I could not do any job. They would say you are overqualified, but with 0 practical experience. I said, I have 3 degrees. They said, yes, sir, we can see. But you have 0 interpersonal skills. I said, what is interpersonal skills? How do you relate to others? How do you relate to your clients? You can't even type. I said, type what? I can type. They give you a computer to type. They want you to type when you are looking away. so that your fingers can. I said I was a boss, I was an MD of the bank. Why do you want me to type? Who are those who are going to do that other jobs? So I then realized that actually our education was also lacking. 20 years of education, 3 degrees. I could only become a tailor in a bank in Canada from an MD. So education, our education has a problem. Our upbringing, our discipline in terms of climate has a problem. We are just lucky as Africans that we have strong immunity and we are gifted by God in terms of our climate. All the manyagas we do, if we didn't have the climate gifted to us by God, my Lord, our health system would be overburdened. Overburdened. And you know why? Because we don't prevent. We just go wholesale. We go wholesale. You are asked, you go to check on a doctor. He asks, when did you last check? When did you last do your medical checkup? If I asked you, 2 or 3 will only raise their hands. We don't do that. For us, we look for a doctor when you are down. That's when you look for a doctor. And it's going to be very expensive for you. So you are better off preventing than burdening your health systems. So these are the reasons I joined the Peace Foundation. On that note, therefore, I take this opportunity on behalf of Global Peace Director in Uganda to award this Moral and Innovative Leadership Award to my good brother, Right Honorable Jacob Olanya, the late. He was actually my OB and he was our board speaker at my university. So I take this opportunity to grant this to his own son and I wish him so well. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, honorable ministers, directors, executives, ladies and gentlemen in your respective capacities. My name is Harold Adio Olanya. I'm the son of the late Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Lokori Olanya. And I'm happy for Global Peace to give me this opportunity to receive this award in honor of my father. He was a very patriotic man. He loved this country with all his heart and soul. He wanted to see Uganda thrive for the beauty that it could show. He always called it the Pearl of Africa, and if we disagreed, you'd catch fire. A story that shows how involved he was in the environment would be when I was traveling with him to up north. This was when he was Deputy Speaker of Parliament at the time. One of the police officers in the lead car had thrown a plastic bottle out the window. Unfortunately for him, my father saw this happen. He immediately screamed at the drivers to stop the convoy and called the man by his own name to walk out, grab the plastic bottle, kneel down and apologize to Mother Earth itself, and then proceed back to his car, and on we went. He was very, very passionate about the world, and he wanted us to treat it with respect that we would want others to treat us. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity to receive this award in his honor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that bit. Now, the late Jacob Olanya was one of the gifted poets, like the son said. He was a peace negotiator that represented his country internationally. So many times, he did so on behalf of his nation. You all know where Olanya came from as a member of the opposition and joined NRM. It was courage, immense courage from him. To him, serving his nation meant transcending parties, transcending boundaries for a betterment of his country. We want to thank him posthumously for that wonderful, recognizable service that he had for his nation. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, the honor award shall be given to another personality. From a humble background of a teacher to becoming one of the best legislators and now a consistent minister. He becomes one even when he does not have a constituency at the moment. When you are chosen to say, I have left politics, the president says, no, I'm giving you this. A senior minister in this country, a renowned member of parliament from Ruli County, Nakasologa district, for a long time. As a little boy, I only heard about Muruli Mukasa, and I thought I would never see him. Over time, as an MC of functions, I've interacted with Honorable Muruli Mukasa in the most humble ways, sometimes in the corridor, sometimes everywhere. A jolly, humble man with a simple smile. The Honorable Muruli Mukasa, the Minister of Public Service, is presented with a word today. We ask you to come in front, and then we shall ask the Ambassador Milton Kambola, who is the Peace Ambassador, and the President of the chapter in Uganda, to come and present that award. Honorable Muruli Mukasa, please kindly come in front. Thank you. I will invite the professors that were here and those that made presentations to come along to join. I shall also invite the Minister of State for ICT, the Honorable Kabian, to come in front. I shall invite the Director, the Board Member of Global Peace, Mr. Kalisa, to come in front. In the same way, I will also invite Professor Walisibi to come here. I shall invite, in the same way, Mr. Chitakuli to come in front. Please come and join together in having to appreciate the Honorable Muruli Mukasa. The Honorable Muruli Mukasa has guided Global Peace for a long time. Together with the Right Honorable Jacob Olanya, they were instrumental members. She knocked at any door and informed Honorable Muruli Mukasa, you were guided. Thank you for blending with the little ones of this world. May God award you abundantly. So, Ambassador Kamla Milton shall present that award to him.
Sometimes I've been shedding tears there because I'm very, I don't know why tears are rolling down. For the last 15 years, Honorable Muruli Mukasa, Right Honorable Jacob Olanya, the late, it was a big group, but this is the only man now remaining alive, promoting peace all over the world. People who moved with them in all corners of the world, including at the border of North Korea. Jacob Olanya gave a very resoundful speech at the United Nations defending Africa. So don't mind about my tears. There's a story that tells about a character of a man who's getting this special award today. The headquarters in 50 countries, all these offices, approving these simple, unique awards took them 2 years. But we thank you, Honorable Muruli, one for national service and character. Please clap for him. A man who has never been in corruption scandals. Clap for that for him. A man who has supported people, not that they came from his tribe or community, but look where we came from, some of us. Karambi, there, at the border of DRC. Nobody knew me in this city. Everybody said, this man is a rebel. At one time they said, I'm ADF. But when he was a minister of security, with his team, they investigated, they found out that the organization that we want to bring in the country is indeed for peace. So this man is not just a man. To the president, he sees him as an instrument, because 2018 you brought more than 40 countries in the world. Here in Uganda, that was not easy. 40 governments. And the president said, Honorable Muruli should be the national chair of the Global Peace Leadership Conference, which produced the Kampala Peace Declaration, which IGAD is implementing. So the man getting this award, not just the award itself, because this is for national service, but the global leadership that he has exhibited. Thank you, Honorable Muruli Mukasa. The young people out there, we have 14 companies here for media. Please, I'm asking you, walk in the footsteps of a man, Honorable Muruli, and a man, Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. Today, we want to celebrate their lives using this simple and unique award. Please receive it, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. And the word says, awarded for outstanding sacrifice, culture of community service, volunteerism, and commitment towards supporting national development programs for a prosperous future.
We start.
Honourable Minister, the Honourable MP, and the Peace Ambassador, and all of you distinguished members of the audience, ladies and gentlemen, I have no words to express gratitude at of distinguished men and women here, diplomats, academicians, name them. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for this award. Thank you very much indeed. The conference today about sustainability is indeed important, and I think it's a good landmark. Indeed, sustainability is an imperative that we cannot escape from. We either go by it or perish. And in sustainability, of course, science is key. Plus, of course, character, education, name it all, however, science is key. Obviously, not much has been said about sustainability. I think we're just beginning. But I think there's need to increase the tempo, to intensify, to go ahead and proclaim the message and the lesson of sustainability right from the top up to the bottom, even up to the unborn baby. So I'd like to thank Peace Ambassador Kambura and the Global Peace Foundation for this effort and the initiative that they have begun. Hope it will continue until in our community we live by sustainability and we actively promote.
I would want to invite the Honorable Minister of State for ICT and National Guidance, Godfrey Kabia, that name, but I would prefer to use Baloko because it's simpler for me as well. The Honorable Minister, please kindly come to make a few remarks upon which we shall then invite the Honorable Muruli Mukasa, the Minister of Public Service, to come and have the crowning remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MC. Good afternoon to all of you. The Honourable Minister of Public Service, my elder, my senior, the Honourable Muruli Mukasa, the Presidential Advisor, the Secretary General of the Religious Council, and the Board Member of Global Peace Foundation, and all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I observe all protocol. Just as you have heard, I'm Karianga Godfrey Baruku. I'm State Minister for Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, and in charge of National Guidance. I'd like to apologize for coming late after my senior had come. It's bad manners to come after your senior, but I had already sent message that I had some engagement early in the morning, and I hope my senior can accept my apology. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you in your capacities, I'm delighted to be part of this forward-looking gathering of thoughtful leaders. When Ambassador Kambura invited me, and I saw the letter was to come and talk about environment, but the organization was Global Peace Foundation. I couldn't match Peace Foundation and environment. But then later, as he put it, their role was to develop models that foster unity, cohesion, and prospering societies. And there is no society that can prosper if the environment is not well managed. So I said, all the nations, 27th International Climate Conference, the COP27, is near conclusion. I think it might be concluding today or tomorrow. And what they are talking about is issues to do with climate change and specifically the environment. But I think as nations, we should now do little conferencing and meetings and go and handle the real thing. I was a mayor for 10 years of Kasese municipality. And if you ask me what is the one big problem of all cities in Uganda, the first one will be waste management. The rest come after. But waste management is the biggest problem that we have in our cities today. But also it is important to note that it is very easy to turn waste into wealth. Very easy. And that's not that's what we have not captured. Turning this waste into wealth. If we can really capture that, then we are going to manage this environment. Because as a mayor, I traveled so many cities because I was one of the leaders of the mayors. And we traveled in many cities in America, both North and South, Europe, Asia, Africa, everywhere we traveled. And one interesting story, just as my brother Kalisa had his own story. I went to Aalborg. It's one of the cities in Denmark. And I visited a very big energy plant. And this plant was making energy out of feces. All the fecal material, they will collect it, because here we have septic tanks. But for them, they have a sewage system. Here we have septic tanks on every house, but I think you, my brother Kalisa, has been in those countries. For them, they have a sewage system. So from your house to goes to the central system, they recycle, they remove what they can use and what they can't use. And they were collecting these feces and taking them to a plant. And that plant was producing energy that was used for warming water in all the houses in the city. And I asked them, do you manage to get enough? They said, no, some of it we import from Germany. I was like, you pay the Germans? They said, yes. I wanted to say, you come to Uganda and give you free water. Yes, for free. Now when I came back, I just find it littered in the whole city everywhere. You go behind the house, you find the feces. I was like, these people could come here. I give them all these roses future. So you can imagine, people are selling waste in Germany. For us here, we are gambling with how to manage it. I think we should really change mindset change is very important. That Chitezi site can produce a lot of energy if we come up with the appropriate technology to process it. Because I've just come from Seoul, they are making energy out of what? Of waste. They have the landfill like that one of Chitezi, but now they are utilizing it to produce energy. So my appeal is, let us now go down there and see how we can process this. And now we have invested a lot as government in research and development. We have a lot of research and we have a lot of prototypes that have been developed that we can commercialize. But I think we are still lagging behind in commercializing our research. That's why it took us long to even say our doctor who got that medicine, for us everything is called medicine, whether it is a supplement or not, it is medicine. For COVID, it took us long to argue whether we should use it or not. And yet, the disease was killing us. Until the president said, please, you manufacture. And me, two of my relatives, I gave them COVID-X and they got cured. But people were still debating science, National Drug Authority, just National Drug Authority is in the body. We are dying. Let me take. If I die, after all, if I don't take, I will do what? I will die. You know, those are the things which we still lack in this country. Doing research and commercializing that research immediately. And I really thank the universities. They are doing a lot. There are so many things we don't know that they have researched on, and they have all the prototypes which we can use, but we are not really putting them to commercial use. So, Honourable Minister, I think we should push for that, and we see how all these things can start working. So, like now we are not talking about plastics. They are menace, yes. And in Kampala, you haven't seen the menace of plastics. Because in Kampala, there are no winds. But we who stay in the Rift Valley, we know the menace of what? Of plastics. Because in Kasese, every simple sign of rain, it comes with very strong wind. And that's when you see how plastics is a menace. Flying everywhere, you can't even see. You see, very big menace. But leave plastics alone. We are now coming up with electronic waste. This one we can recycle some of it. Our brother has told you some of it can't be recycled. But now there is electronic what? Waste. Which is also becoming another menace. I think environmentalists now you have to. Because for us in the ICT industry, we are looking at the waste which we have, which can't be recycled. And I was talking to NEMA, they were saying, you bury, you bury that. But you know, everybody is now, we are now going IT, we are going electronic. So for how long shall we keep what? Burying. We have to look for a way of recycling that electronic waste before it becomes a big what? A big menace. So, and I would also like to thank government. At least now, we now have set up a plant through National Enterprise Corporation that can recycle some e-waste, and therefore electronic waste, which is, I feel, will be a serious challenge in the future. We have started now looking for ways of handling it. Therefore, today's deliberations are an opportunity for me, for us all, to weigh what we have learned here and to see how we can put it into action. Let us not keep talking about things. We should start putting them in action. Yes, my brother here was saying, you know, government is looking at that 7%, and then not looking at the 93%. You can't just find one wrong with the what? Another. We should really fight what? Plastics and look for a solution for them. We want factories, we want jobs, but I think we should give them a condition that if you are putting up a plastic factory, you should also put up a recycling what? Plant. Yes, because this 7%, if you continue producing it without recycling it, it is a menace. So you can't say, but you are not looking at that one, you are only looking at, no. This one which can be recycled, show us that I can produce it, but I can also what? Recycle it. Because that's where I understand you and I agree with you, but I say, you can't justify that, the production without recycling for the other 93%. You can only say me now, I can recycle this. I have put up a plastic plant and a recycling plant. But I also want the government to ensure these ones who are producing the 93%, they also look for a mechanism of either recycling it or controlling its what? Its spread. I think that's where we should go. And then we shouldn't look at only plastics. We should also look at other waste. Liquid waste, for instance. We are not looking at that. I saw the director of Cancer Institute here. Recently I was at the institute. I sympathize with you. Because the corridors are full, the verandas are full, and when I looked at the statistics of patients, the Western region has the highest number. Says that in the West is leading. Because every day we are burying someone with these Campuras who suffering from cancer. We don't even know where the problem is. I think you need to send their people to do some research, because I strongly believe there is something associated with copper. Because the disposal of waste from the mine is not well managed. Even right now, I worked with the mine for 15 years, and I know what happens there. Even right now, there is still a lot of contamination from the mine, because the mine is still there. We are pumping water from there and pumping it in Yamamba River. Yeah, so it is really a big problem. So we shouldn't look at plastics only. We should look at waste in totality, whether liquid waste, solid waste, biodegradable, and the like. And there is waste which we can use as fertilizer. Manure, just simple technology. But we are still wasting that. Why? Because of what my brother Kalisa was talking about. We are not separating from source. So producer responsibility is also very, 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 very important. If we are separating from source, some waste can be turned into manure without even simple technology, without even building factories. So me, I think this was a timely conference, and I hope what we have learned from here, we can really go and put it in practice. That is the problem, putting what we have learned in practice. So Mr. Kambura, now that you have funded this conference, please now fund sensitization of the population, so that we come from the boardroom here, we now go to the real population, and mainly in towns. And with my sister, Masanyaraze, I think since you have promised you will be a communicator, I'm the chief communicator, so I think we should, and people can listen to songs than listening to news. That's why the musician declares that he's standing and in 2 weeks he already has what? Following. Through singing, yes, most of the people listen to music than listening to news. Even in my home, I meet everybody glued on TV watching what? Music. So I had to buy my small TV to go and watch news alone. So if they are fond of listening to music, let us communicate to them through music. And then, my brother Chitagule, I would like to appeal to you. For you have one luck. You communicate when everybody is listening and nobody asks you. So even in preaching, look for for those verses in the Bible which talk about what? Environment. Because for you, you say stand up, we stand up. Sit down, you sit down. Close your eyes and we pray, we close. And you say, now mass is over, go in peace. We all go. Nobody says, what did you say? No. So, and when you are communicating and preaching, everybody is attentive. You are getting, everybody is attentive. So please, these are some of the things you should preach about. I strongly believe in the Bible. There are verses which talk about clean environment. So if we can combine religious leaders, the musicians and artists, and ask the politicians, we shall fight and win this war. I say all this for God and my country. Having said that, let me now invite my senior, Honorable Mruli Mukasa, to come and address the gathering. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have an address. I'll just request all of you to stand up. And simply raise your hand. Yes. You know, the symbolism is clear that you want to reach God. And we are here with the man of God. And simply say, we are here committed to the lessons that we have learned here today. And that in our own individual capacity, we shall never forget them. But we shall go out and in our own way at least put in practice what we have learned here. So God help us. Thank you very much. You may sit down. And with those remarks, let me once again thank the Peace Ambassador and indeed all of you, the Minister and our Honourable Member of Parliament and the various academicians and dear participants for finding time and coming and sharing all these wonderful ideas. Thank you very much indeed. Once again, if you are called, please come up. So with those remarks, it's my singular honor to declare the conference closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Minister shall stand up for the national anthem. Now this time in the reverse order, we shall have the East African anthem, then the national anthem. So attention, we stand and we can be guided.
Let's be able to sing our East African anthem. Ee Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano, vimisije wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani. desturi zetu, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu, viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na amali, tuijenge jumuiya bora, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Oh Uganda, may God uphold you, we lay our future in thy hands. You're free falling, but together we always stand. Let's have a closing prayer.
Actually, the anthem is a prayer. But in addition to that anthem, let's pray. Lord our Father, we want to thank you very much for the time you've given us to talk, to discuss, and to agree on some of that are holding us back, especially the whole deal of it. We know that we have a role to play as individuals, but also as institutions. So I want to commit ourselves today that you will give us the wisdom, but also the energy to make change in the way we do our things. We want to thank Global Peace for this initiative. We want our ministers, and we want to thank everybody that will give us grace so that whatever we do moving forward will bring glory to you and to all of us. In Jesus' name I pray.
Thank you. Briefly, we may ask candidates sit down, Mr. Ministers, and up across the other side is a declaration on recycling 2022. The message in it is clear and can be read. Kindly, it is that we shall commit ourselves to preserve our environment, and we shall commit ourselves to recycling, ensuring